It's a sleepover at his friend's house. They're sitting down talking when somebody mentions a microwave. I almost microwaved my fork. That would have been crazy. Why would that be crazy? Everyone's like, you can't microwave metal, man. You didn't know that? No, and I've never tried. They explain to him that it's bad to microwave metal, like fire hazard bad. Well, they all go to sleep, and this kid's laying there. He can't stop thinking about it. Metal, microwave. Microwave, metal, metal, microwave, metal. Metal, metal, microwave, milk, metal. He just can't let it go. Staring at the ceiling, he decides, ugh, I need to find out for myself. So he goes into the kitchen of his friend's house, opens the silverware drawer, grabs a handful of forks, knives, and spoons, puts it in the microwave, and presses start. For the first 3 seconds, nothing happens, but then crackling, sparks, a flash bright as the sun, and then flames. The microwave is now fully engulfed in flames, and the cabinets start on fire. Fire alarms are going off, everybody in the house wakes up and they go outside. The fire trucks arrive and they're putting this fire out. Luckily, it's not too bad. The kitchen was pretty messed up though, but the entire neighborhood was outside in their pajamas watching this thing happen. And obviously, they found out who did it. Bro, we just told you about metal in the microwave. I had to see it. And that, my friends, is nuts. These are the worst parents ever. In this house, certain words were banned, like disgusting. If you said the word disgusting, you were grounded for a week. Obviously, no swear words. Bedroom doors had to stay open at all times. Only time they could be in a room with the door closed was the bathroom. This kid's parents hated Cartoon Network. They called it garbage. So yeah, super controlling parents, but one day it became completely out of hand. One day the parents decided that these kids were bad enough to deserve a real punishment. You've seen nothing yet. So the sister was 14, the brother was 12. The parents made them gather every single item in their bedroom. Clothes, pictures, diaries, toys, childhood keepsakes. Their parents made them bag this stuff up in trash bags. And then they marched them outside to a giant burn pile. March to the backyard. And item by item, they made the kids burn every single thing that they bagged up. Every memory, every photo, every childhood item, completely gone. The next day, they went out to see what was left, and it was just ashes. Their entire lives up to that point, ashes. So yeah, in my opinion, worst parents ever. It's testing week at this one middle school. Normally, kids have the Chromebooks open all day during class, or they're using the school iPads. And as you can imagine, the kids have TikTok tabs open, they're playing games, YouTube is paused somewhere. Well, this week, the teacher says, no Chromebooks or iPads all week this week. The kids are like, what? She then says, we're just gonna be watching movies. Now, when I was in school, that would be the best thing you could hear. There'd be cheering. But this room goes tense. So we're just gonna like sit here and stare at nothing? Miss, we're gonna be so bored. This is stupid. Yeah, this is actually messed up. They then start calling the teacher horrible names. You're a frickin' loser, idiot. Piece of crap. Yeah, I hope you die. It escalates and escalates. One kid flips a desk. Enough! The teacher then grabs the school police liaison. He comes in and shuts this entire debauchery down. Every student in that class gets into big trouble because what the heck is the matter with them? Are kids really that obsessed with the screens these days? Maybe I'm old. But like I said, all I know, movie days when I was in school, the best. This Spanish teacher had a rule. If you forget your pencil, you would have to borrow one from her supply cup and pay her back with a brand new one the next day. But she would always make sure to embarrass you because of it. Well, 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 look who's unprepared again today. Little baby Kyle boy. All right, here, you can have a pencil, but bring me back the new one. Okay? What is wrong with you? Well, this kid named Marcus shows up to school one day with a bag full of sharpened, brand new pencils. And he would sell them. One pencil, 50 cents. No need to pay the teacher back with a brand new pencil the next day, and no public shaming. So that's kind of a win. Pretty soon, it's not just the Spanish class he is selling to. He made little flyers and he passed them around the school. And pretty soon, people were texting him, ordering pencils. Whenever they forgot one, he was the guy they would go to. Just 50 cents. Well, it got popular. Business was booming. So he upped his game a little bit. He had a premium package with the highest quality mechanical pencils you could imagine. He bought them in bulk, so they were pretty cheap, and he would charge $2 per mechanical pencil. And people were buying those as well. He was selling out every time. Eventually, Marcus had an incredibly loyal customer base and a bunch of single-dollar bills in a shoebox under his bed. You gotta respect Marcus, and you gotta respect the hustle. One day in history class, this teacher just frickin' lost it. He'd been on edge all week about kids' backpacks being in the aisles. He kept tripping over them. If I see one more backpack sticking out, we're gonna have a frickin' problem. Well, the next day, he sees one. He stops teaching and says this. All right, every one of you, backpacks in front of my desk right now. People are confused, but they start dragging him up and leaving their backpacks in front of his desk. Then he stands up, goes to the first backpack, unzips it, and then dumps the entire thing on the floor. Books, homework, snacks all fall out into this one messy pile. Yo, dude, that's my stuff. What are you doing? Shut your mouth. And one by one, he goes down the line, dumping out everybody's stuff into the same pile. Hey, what are you doing? You think I'm kidding? You think this is some frickin' joke? By the end, there's a mountain of student stuff covering half the classroom floor. Some kid takes a picture. Parents start calling the school before the day's even over. And the next morning, there's a substitute in his seat. Apparently, that was the last straw. And that teacher was fired. Hey, that's kinda messed up. So it was senior prank season, and this one might have been the most beautiful senior prank this school has ever seen. It's the last week of school, and the seniors show up. They've got a ladder, a few backpacks, and they're carrying bags upon bags of something. How much you get? 30 pounds. You're kidding. Nope. 30 pounds of confetti. They sneak into the assembly hall where the school organ is. Now the school was about to have an assembly, and for some reason at every single assembly, the music teacher plays the organ. Now it's a giant old organ with these large pipes, and these pipes stretch up to the ceiling. With the ladder set up, they climb up, and they start pouring confetti straight down each of the organ's pipes. And not just a little confetti. Pounds of it, until pretty much every pipe is stuffed. Well, only one teacher is in on it, and that's the music teacher. He gave them the green light because that old organ was being thrown out anyway. But nobody else knows about this, okay? So, 2 hours later, the whole school is crammed in for this assembly. The principal gives his speech, and then the organist starts playing. Whoosh! A cloud of confetti blasts into the air like fireworks while this beautiful organ music is playing. With each note, another explosion of confetti goes off. And now it's like a blizzard. Students are cheering, they're trying to catch it. It's beautiful! But the teachers are really confused. Oh my god, what's happening? What's happening? The principal's standing there looking around like the ceiling just collapsed. Meanwhile, the music teacher is just calmly playing the organ while this crazy storm is happening. It's a beautiful sight. By the end, the floor is covered in confetti, the seats are all buried, and the seniors are just looking around like, wow, we did that. And that was it. That organ never played another note, but that prank went down in school history. The craziest senior prank of all time. It's right after graduation. 20 to 30 seniors meet up in the school parking lot, and they're all carrying these giant bags, and in the bags are about 5,000 bouncy balls. You know the ones you throw on the ground and they just shoot straight up? Well, these seniors had already graduated, so they were done with school. They had somebody sneak them in through the school's side door. And during this time, lunch is in full swing. 200 to 300 kids are in this cafeteria. The seniors head up to the balcony that overlooks the cafeteria. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Every single bag is dumped over the railing at once. A rainbow waterfall of bouncy balls falls down and slams to the floor. Instant chaos, because the second they went down, they were coming right back up. It was like a wave of bouncy balls heading towards all these kids eating. It was instant chaos. All the seniors scatter away, and the kids in the cafeteria are going crazy. What is happening? What is this? I need my mom. One of the security guards sees one of the seniors running away, and he tackles her. Come here, come here. Ah! He drags her to the office, and she folds immediately, snitches on everybody. Every one of the seniors got a $200 trespassing fine, and they were so mad at her. Well, years later, one of them checked her Facebook page, and guess what she became? A security guard. Yeah, that's no surprise. What a snitch. If you talk, I'm writing your name down, and you sit alone tomorrow. Understand? At this one small town school, the lunchroom rule was brutal. No talking at all. If you talked, your name went on the small board, and you had to sit alone by yourself at lunch the next day. Well, there was this one menace of a kid named Owen, and Owen was trying to cause some trouble. Watch this. He decided to drop a bunch of money in front of this one kid sitting down eating his lunch. The kid goes, "Oh, hey, is this yours?" Name on the board, alone tomorrow. This kid's a menace. He never says a word, but every single lunch period, he's trying to trap kids into talking. And people are falling into this trap. He's flicking food at people, accidentally bumping trays onto the ground, straight up kicking kids in the shin. What the? And the teachers think Owen's a saint. Every time they look over, he's just sitting there, arms crossed, smirking. By the end of the month, the quiet lunch board is full every single day, with kids spread apart all over the cafeteria because they were sitting alone, except for Owen. Eventually, the school's like, that's it. This is obviously not working, so we're getting rid of this rule. And the rule was gone, and it was all because of Owen. What a frickin' rascal. So this school was doing Spirit Week. You know, Pajama Day, Wacky Wednesday, stuff like that. Well, on Wacky Wednesday, this one kid showed up in a full suit of armor. Boots, gloves, gauntlets, the whole thing, 3 layers, night helmet. It was epic. And the school let him keep it on. Well, after second period, these 3 8th graders, who were the school bullies, decided to make fun of him. Hey, nice outfit, Tin Man. What you got under there? Yeah, nice outfit, metal boy. Well, he's just standing there, not saying a word. The bullies didn't like this, so they start to attack him. What's your problem, dude? Yeah, what's your problem? My foot. One punches his shoulder, his hand is shaking, it might be broken. Some kid kicks him in the groin, his foot is hurting. And the third one, big guy, punches his knee and literally breaks his wrist. Ow! My foot! My foot! My wrist, guys? Guys, my wrist. It's broken. It's broken. Principal shows up and calls it a school fight. The kid in the armor gets suspended for a week, even though he did not touch any of them. He literally just stood there in his knight armor that the school let him wear. And the bullies, they didn't get in trouble at all. And that, my friends, is messed up. Yo, this is crazy. So one day, the beginning of school, students arrive and it's already chaos. Not a single classroom door in the entire school will open. Teachers are in the hallway jiggling their keys, yelling to the office. What is going on with this door? Yeah, mine's jammed too. What the heck? Well, it turns out, overnight, somebody broke into the school and hammered pennies into every single door keyhole. The principal comes storming down the hall, trying to use his master key on all the doors, but it wasn't working. Get maintenance now. The maintenance guy shows up with pliers. Yeah, we need more pliers, boss. We've been sabotaged. After a while, students have just been standing around, not knowing what to do, because the doors won't open to any classroom. Eventually, the school just decided to send all the students home. The teachers are livid, but the kids, they loved it. As everyone's leaving, they notice a bunch of locksmith vans begin to pull up. It was an entire operation. Dude, this is crazy. I know, but hey, no school today. Nobody ever found out who did it, but that day lives on as the day pennies canceled school. Nice. This bully got smoked. So there's this kid named Mateo. He's super nice, he's quiet, and he always walks around in these old beat up New Balance shoes. And then there's Jackson, super loudmouth, and he wears these $600 limited edition Nikes that everyone compliments. Hey yo, check the drip. Nice shoes, Jackson. Thanks. Now normally Mateo ignores Jackson because Jackson's constantly making fun of Mateo's shoes. But one day in gym, Mateo had enough. Jackson was like, bro, you're still wearing those nasty ass crusty shoes? You're probably super poor, you freaking idiot. Everyone laughs. Mateo doesn't. Because here's the secret. Mateo is a walking sneaker encyclopedia. He can spot a pair of fake sneakers from a mile away. and nobody knew this about him. And Jackson, those $600 shoes, Mateo's known for months that those are fake. And he's kept quiet because he's a nice guy, until now. When the class is doing laps around the gym, Mateo sneaks out and heads to the locker room. He opens Jackson's locker because, of course, he never locks it. And he walks out to the gym floor holding the shoes like evidence. Everybody, yo, dude, those are my shoes. Since y'all want to talk about my shoes, let's talk about Jackson's shoes. He pulls out his phone and he begins comparing pictures of fake shoes to the ones that Jackson has, and they line up. So this is a fake. Look at Jackson's. See that stitching? That's fake. Look at the logo. It's completely off. It's in the wrong font. Look at the sole of the shoe. Completely discolored. These are only worth 25 bucks. Everyone's like, what? Dude? So you're a frickin' fraud then, huh, Jackson? No, I mean, yes, I mean, no. Bro, you can't clown people for their shoes when you're wearing frickin' replicas. I paid more for my New Balances than you did for those fakes. And from then on, nobody made fun of Mateo's shoes ever again. Man, yeah. Legend. Mr. Donnelly was the new history teacher. Perfectly combed hair, crisp tie, he was very well put together. Then one day, one kid finds him on a bodybuilding website. Apparently, Mr. Donnelly used to compete in bodybuilding competitions. Well, he saw this picture of him. Spray tan, oiled up, posing like a bodybuilder, and his bodybuilding name was Titan Steel. Well, this kid tells a bunch of people in his class. And the next morning, good morning class, how are we doing today? Good morning, Titan Steel. He's shocked. Excuse me? Oh, sorry, Mr. Donnelly. And by lunch, everybody knew Mr. Donnelly's secret. Hey, Mr. Steel, you gonna bench the vending machine? What you got for lunch today, Titan? A bunch of chicken breasts and protein powder? Oh my god. And he's hearing it all day, every day, whispers of Titan Steel this, Titan Steel that. By January, he freaking snaps. If one more person says that name, I am quitting Titan Steel. The next day, he was gone and there was a sub. He actually quit that job. I guess he would rather be unemployed than be Titan Steel. Wow, that's absolutely insane. At this school during lunch, milk cartons were free, and they were all just sitting on this table. So one day, these 3 fifth graders, they stockpiled 20 milk cartons, shoving them in their backpacks, in their pockets, up their sleeve, and they take them out to recess. They walk over to the brick wall on the side of the building, and they just start chucking the milk cartons against the wall. Yeah, milk! Milk! The milk cartons are exploding, milk is spraying everywhere, a crowd gathers. Kids are cheering, they're watching this like it's a frickin' sporting event. Well, that's when somebody says, yo, the principal, he's coming! Oh crap. The 3 milk chuckers put their hoods up and they just disappear into the crowd. The vice gets there. All right, who did this? And it was instant snitching, names and details. The principal immediately starts searching for these kids. And there were close calls, but these guys were really sneaky. Hiding against benches, behind trees, in the slide. Somehow, they never get caught, and the rest of the day is a frickin' mission. At lunch, the principal and the vice principal are posted at the table that these kids usually sit at. Oh crap, he's right there. Let's eat in the band room. Milk! That entire day they managed to escape the wrath of the principal. And when school was over, they went home. But the craziest part is, some random kid cleaned up the milk wall by himself, just because he wanted to. When the principal went out and asked him why he was doing this, why are you doing this? Because it's the right thing to do. That's legendary. A crazy private school rule. So this private school in a small town had this rule. Nobody's allowed to have curly hair on school grounds. Which, like, what do you mean? But this is serious. One day, this new kid shows up at this school. It's his first day. And you guessed it, he has curly hair. Hey, I'm Corey. Oh, Corey. Come with me. The principal takes Corey to her office. She pulls out a hair straightener from her desk, and she begins straightening Corey's hair. When I'm done with you, this hair will be straight. 10 minutes later, Corey leaves the office with a completely different hairstyle. He was incredibly confused and sad. He told his parents, and his parents were ticked off. They complained and complained and complained. But for some reason, this small town, this small school, had a lot of connections, so the rule never changed. Curly hair, not allowed. And that is completely messed up. He was 11 years old and he built the best sandcastle of all time. Yes, it's beautiful. It had walls, tower, a drawbridge. There was seaweed that was decorating it. It was pure art. Well, once he finished, he stepped back to admire it. And here comes this menacing teenager. Nice sandcastle, loser. And just kicks the crap out of it. Sandcastle completely destroyed. Yo, what the heck? The teenager left. This kid was upset, but he decided to take action. So he rebuilt, bigger, stronger, and this time he buried the heaviest, pointiest rock right in the middle of the sandcastle. Covered it perfectly. You wouldn't be able to tell it was there at all. And now this sandcastle looked even better than the first one. It's perfect. But as he suspected, the menacing teenager came by again. Oh, so you're just gonna rebuild it and think I wasn't gonna come back? The teenager pulled his leg back, he's getting ready, and he just kicks it. Remember the rock the kid buried in there? Destroyed this kid's foot. Oops, shouldn't have kicked it, man. The kid limped away, crying to his mom. Some people gotta learn the hard way. Hey, awesome. This math teacher was a total freaking nightmare. She required every student to have a specific scientific calculator in her class. The calculator cost $100, but if you forgot yours, too bad. She wouldn't lend you one and you were not allowed to share or borrow off of anybody else's when you were in the classroom. Well, one Saturday, a junior named Marcus was biking in his neighborhood when he spots a massive garage sale. Oh, that looks sick. He goes up and takes a closer look and he finds an absolute gold mine. This tech hoarder was selling a box of 15 perfect condition graphing calculators for $1 each. Well, Marcus didn't even blink. He bought all of them. I'm gonna buy all of them. He dropped $15, took everything home, and he realized he was sitting on over $1,000 of technology. Well, the next Monday, he brought these to school to start a little business. He would stand right outside of that rude teacher's classroom door. It would be 5 minutes before the bell, and he would rent them out to students that didn't have these calculators. Hey, psst, you need one? I know she's tough. $5 to rent for the class period. Oh my God, thank you so much. There's a test today. I was gonna fail it. I got you, dog. After a while, word spread and people would just message him like, hey, got any calculators today? I need one for the class. Yeah, I got a few left. I'll meet you by the bathroom in 10. The teacher eventually said that students could no longer rent these calculators, but that rule never really stuck because at that point, she's just using any excuse to fail students. This kid retired at the end of the year, and he sold those calculators to people that would buy them for like half the price. But he swears he saved a lot of people's grades that year, and that is respect. Freshman year, this kid dumped every single drop of soap on the floor of the boys' bathroom. Soap, 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 soap everywhere. Yeah, it was a mess. There was soap everywhere. It was a slippery crime scene. You would think the janitor would come in, clean it up, they would punish whoever did this, and they would refill the soap. But that's not what they did. In fact, they took the soap out of every other boys' bathroom in the school, and they left all of the soap dispensers empty for 4 years. One kid makes a huge mess one time, and now every single boy at the school cannot wash their hands with soap. Yo, this isn't fair at all. It's actually disgusting. And whenever someone complained, the teachers were like, well, you can thank whoever made the mess the first time. And kids started bringing their own soap in their backpacks, but most people didn't. And that's when one kid decided to start a soap business. He bought a bunch of tiny soaps from the dollar store and he sold them for $1. So he wasn't making any profit, but he was able to provide soap to anybody that had $1. And to this day, pretty sure there still isn't any soap at that school. That's nuts. No high fives allowed. Huh? Why? Because it's assault. That was the actual rule. And no, that doesn't make sense. People couldn't celebrate high five each other. If a teacher saw a high five, they would jump in, pull it apart, and both those kids were getting to frickin' detention. And they always said, aggressive behavior will not be tolerated. So that's dumb rule number 1. Then they started a new rule. The only liquids or beverages that students were allowed to bring into school were water and milk. And if it wasn't water or milk, they would take it away. They would check students' lunch bags every single morning as they were walking into school. Coffee from home? Gone. Flavored water? Gone. Gatorade? Gone. Tea? Get the heck out of here. One student had laryngitis and his throat was hurting him bad. The doctor said he could bring tea with hot honey to school. He even had a note. But the school took that note, ripped it, and dumped that tea out. You know the rules. I hate my life. And this was a kindergarten through 12 school. And these rules applied to everybody. The school also served the same lunch every day. 3 chicken nuggets and 3 carrots. And kids weren't allowed to bring anything else. Nobody knew what the point of this was. But what I do know is that sounds like the worst school ever.
This 4th grader could pull his tooth out. Like fully out. Nobody knew why. Then he would put it back in and it would fit perfectly, like a Lego piece. The first time he did it, people were like, yo, what was that? That was crazy, do it again. By the next day, everybody had heard about this kid's tooth thing, and they were lining up. Yo, do the tooth thing, please let me see it. And he did it every so often, but people kept asking him this for months, and it got old, so he started charging. Okay, I'll do it for a quarter. Fine, here. Well, now it's a business, but here's the rule. Only 1 person per quarter. If 4 kids want to see it at the same time, it's $1. And if you give him a quarter, he does it, but you missed it, that's that. You pay, you watch him do this tooth thing, you move on. By the end of the month, he's got bags and bags of quarters. People are actually paying this guy. Teachers try to shut it down eventually, but by that point, the tooth wouldn't fit in anymore. He made his money, and nobody ever knew how he was doing that with his tooth. Hey, you gotta respect the hustle.
The ice cream truck pulled into the neighborhood. Music blasts and kids are sprinting up. One little girl ran up with some crumpled up cash in her hand. A couple minutes later, she walks back to her dad. She's not happy. Hey, what happened?
I gave him the $10 bill you gave me, but he didn't give me change back. He only gave me a lollipop. He didn't even give me my ice cream.
What?
Yeah, and then he just drove away.
Now, this dad was so mad. Who would frickin' do that to a little kid? So the next day, what that dad did was he drove to Costco and he bought a bunch of boxes of ice cream bars and ice cream treats and brings them back to the neighborhood. He set it up in coolers in his driveway and wrote a big sign. Free ice cream. Come up, everybody. Everybody is now with their kids in this dude's driveway enjoying some free ice cream. The ice cream truck comes. Come on, kids! But no one even entertains the guy. He just left. The next day he came back, but this dad was still doing the free ice cream thing. Nobody ever went to that ice cream truck again in that block, and he never returned after a while. Good. What a freaking jerk. Everybody called this one kid weird. Habo Scabolinda. He didn't talk much, he ate lunch by himself, always wore the same hoodie. Then there was this other kid named Mason. And Mason wasn't just a bully, he was the biggest bully in school. I'm kind of the frickin' man. He would flick people's ears in the hallway, kick people's shins for no reason. He would sometimes give kids actual swirlies in the toilet. Well, one morning, Mason's at his locker before first period, and he grabs the combination lock. He feels something. He looks at his fingers. It's brown, thick. He sniffs it. What is this? Someone yells, bro, why are your hands brown? What is that smell? Bro's got poop on his hands. Mason starts wiping it on his jeans, but it just makes it worse. Now his jeans are brown. Dude, you're gross. Turns out somebody covered the combination lock to his locker with dog poop that morning. By third period, everyone's calling Mason Poop Hands. Yo, you see that guy? That's Poop Hands. And that nickname sticks for 2.5 years. Guess who was the person that put the poop on that locker? The weird kid. I know I'm weird. And sometimes people need to be humbled. He didn't tell people about that for years, but when they heard, they all thought he was a legend. And people still call the bully Poop Hands every now and then. Here's what happens when you punish everybody for one kid's mistake. This teacher caught one student throwing a paper airplane in class, but she gave the entire class detention. Detention for all of you! Every single person, even the kids that were just sitting there quietly doing their work. Well, the entire class was super mad, so they realized if they're gonna get punished anyway, they might as well do something to actually deserve it. So the next day, 10 more kids are launching paper airplanes in this class, mid-lecture, and the teacher doubled down, banned everybody from the upcoming field trip that they've been waiting for months. That's it, field trip is canceled. Now, yeah, that did suck for them. So now at this point, the entire class had nothing to lose. So by week 3, it was basically a rebellion. Every student would take their turn disrupting class, coughing loudly, pushing books off the desk, paper airplanes, humming, spitballs. The teacher kept getting angrier and angrier. I'm gonna fail each and every one of you. The good kids who had perfect records just stopped caring because they're like, this thing started off so unfair. The breaking point came when the principal walked in during a surprise observation one day and found absolute chaos. 27 students standing on their desks chanting, "We hate Mrs. Johnson, we hate Mrs. Johnson," over and over again while the teacher is, "Enough, sit down, I'm gonna call your parents, I'm gonna call your parents." Half the class was facing potential suspension at this point. The principal immediately removed the teacher from the classroom. They did some digging, parents demanded meetings with the school board, and at the end of all of this, that teacher was let go. Well, she retired. Because it turns out if you erase the difference between innocent and guilty, everybody just picks guilty, because at least that way you're having fun. That's nuts. It's senior year, middle of class, when all of a sudden people hear, "Look, a horse!" People step out into the hallway and they see it. There's a horse just trotting down the hallway. The principal gets on the intercom and is like, "Everybody stay in your classrooms." Yeah, nobody listened. Kids are pouring out trying to see. They got their phones out. Yo, whose horse is that? The funny part is, this one teacher, he encouraged it. He told one of the kids in his class, "Hey, Billy, come here." "Yeah, what's up?" "Dude, I dare you to go ride that horse." "Okay." So now you have this horse trotting down the hallway, a bunch of students standing to the side, filming it, and this one kid jogs up and hops on the horse. People are losing their minds, and at this moment, the horse is heading right for these big doors in the edge of the school, and students run up and they open the doors. That's when the kid who jumped on the horse is like, "Go!" and he gallops right outside the school. Now, the school was right next to these farms, so that's obviously where the horse came from, but this kid just goes. He's now outside of school on this random horse that somehow got in, galloping around fields of corn. And honestly, that would be the best day of school ever. The school store only opened on Fridays. Why is it closed 4 days a week? Budget. Convenience. Whenever somebody asked, they basically just told him to shut up. Well, this kid had a genius idea. He went to Costco, like most of my stories begin, and he bought a bunch of stuff. Everything that the school store sold, but he bought them in bulk, and he brought it to school. And he began running a school store out of his locker every single day. Chips, candy, drinks, the exact same brands as the school. Bro, how do you have all that? Costco. And his locker was in the band hallway, so it was separate from all the regular kids, if you will. And hey, that's not an insult. I was a band kid myself. But he sold these items for cheaper than what the school sold them for. And business immediately began booming. The band hallway was bumping every day. People were lining up, just hanging out around him. He had a very strict discretion rule where keep us in the DL. If you snitch, I'm gonna have my buddy hunt you down and beat you up. And I'll do it too. And he would do it too. But the thing is, nobody snitched. This kid's moving volume. That first week was legendary. Well, Friday hits and the school opens up their store, but nobody's there. There's no line, there's nobody waiting, nothing. The lady running it's like, what is happening? And it stayed like that for a while. Eventually, an investigation was launched and the principal called this kid into the office. "You've been running an unauthorized business." "No, it's free market competition. You're undercutting school pricing." "With respect, sir, you guys were overcharging and I'm providing students with actual affordable value." "But you can't sell food on campus." "Then why can't the school?" "Because we have these safe, good brands." "I have the same brands bought from Costco." He gave the kid an attention that day, but the kid didn't stop. He kept his business moving. It was this battle between the school and this kid. Eventually, the school got tired of this and they decided to lower the school prices to 10 cents cheaper than the prices this kid was selling at. Well, the kid was happy. "I'm retiring." He retires. A freaking hallway legend. He was the guy that made the school lower their prices, and the school even opened up from Wednesday to Friday now. And to that, my friends, I say, you gotta respect the hustle. Have you ever wondered how some parents can be so cruel? There was this family where the dad had a rule for everything. No phones at the dinner table. No friends over without a 48-hour notice. Bedtime at 9 p.m. sharp, even on weekends, no exceptions. And his teenage daughter had to keep a handwritten log of what she did every single hour of every single day. And if you don't do it, you're in big trouble. Which is completely insane. Well, one day, this girl forgot to log what she did after school, and her dad completely loses his mind. Takes her phone, her laptop, her journals, her books, and her TV, everything she enjoys, and he locks them in the garage. "You can have them back when you write me an apology letter." Well, she wrote one. "Not good enough, do it again." Then she wrote another one. "Not good enough, do it again." She did it like 30 or 40 times before she just gave up. She never gets her stuff back, and the dad doesn't budge. He keeps saying, "I told you, Write me an acceptable apology and you get it back. But nothing was ever good enough for him. After this girl turned 18, she never spoke to her father ever again. And I think she's way better off. That's messed up. Here's what happens when your coach smashes your phone. This school's basketball coach was pretty intense. All right, huddle up everybody, time for team talk. It was one day after practice and everybody was huddled up by the coach for like a regroup thing. But this kid named Johnny was on his phone. Hey, Johnny, come on, man. This is team huddle. Give me your phone right now. Johnny hands it over, thinking he's just gonna get a lecture. Fine. Coach takes the phone, walks straight into the equipment room and slams the door. And then everybody hears it. The sound of smashing, cracking, screaming from the coach. Johnny's stomach drops. His phone was brand new. His parents saved up for 3 months to get it for him for his birthday. He's shaking, he's almost crying. The coach walks back out, holding a mangled piece of metal and glass. Here's what happens when you're not paying attention, kid. Johnny notices something immediately. The mangled phone was way too light. He flips it over and realizes it's not even real. It's a dummy phone from the school drama department. Your real phone's in my office. Maybe now you'll lock in during team time, okay? From that day on, Johnny left his phone far away in the locker during practice. Dude, that coach is kinda awesome. Here's what happens when you sell fake hall passes for 2 weeks at school. This kid Tyler was running an entire business. He'd been selling hall passes for basically anybody that wanted to skip class. $5 a pop. The passes, they looked legit as well. Official watermark, teacher signatures, the whole deal. Everyone thought he had some kind of connection to the front office, and he wouldn't sell too many at one time because he didn't want the school to get suspicious, so it was a limited supply he would sell per month. Well, this quiet girl named Maya, hi, I'm Maya, she'd been watching this whole thing go down for weeks. She never said anything, she just observed. Well, one day, she sees Tyler drop one of the passes on the ground. So she picks it up, looks at it for a second, and then puts it in her pocket. Now, she wasn't gonna say anything about it. She's like, this is none of my business, you know, let him do what he's doing. Well, the next day, Tyler tries to sell her a hall pass. No thanks, I'm okay. But then Tyler starts clowning her in front of the whole class. You're such a teacher's pet. Were you too scared to get one of these? Well, here's what Tyler didn't know. Maya's mom literally works for the school office, and she's the one that designs all official school documents. So Maya knows exactly what a real hall pass looks like, down to the specific font and paper stock. Now, like I said, she wasn't gonna snitch on him, but now she is. She takes the hall pass that she found, goes to the principal and breaks down everything wrong with it. The font is off, the signature's been traced, and this is the wrong paper. This is basic paper from Staples. Principal takes a few days to investigate, pulls up some security footage, and catches Tyler selling these hall passes multiple times. Tyler got a 2-week suspension, and Maya didn't say a word about it to anybody. Nobody knew she snitched. She just went right back to being quiet. That's why you gotta be careful who you disrespect. Somebody might ruin you. Everybody liked this one guy. Yo, it's like everybody. He was popular, funny, and he was always the center of every single party. So one night, there's this big party at somebody's house, and everybody's there. It's packed, there's music going, people chilling. Yo, this is a killer party, Johnny. Hey, thanks, man. I'm just honored that you're here. But you see, not everybody liked that kid. I hated him. So the kid that did not like him was talking to his friend. I just don't like the guy. Yeah, I don't like him that much anymore either. Dude, I'm in a group chat with him, and look what he's been saying. You see. He gets shown this group chat, and the popular kid is in this group chat talking trash about everybody, even his friends, even the girls he's currently hanging out with at the party. Hey, screenshot these and send me them. Okay, but don't say it was me. So he gets the screenshot, and then he plugs his phone into the HDMI port of the TV. It's in the living room of this party, and he pulls up all the screenshots. He turns off the music. Everybody, look! And he has these screenshots of all the horrible stuff he said just right there on the TV. Wait, what? No. That's not me. People are mad. No, guys, they're jokes. I'm just joking in these. But it's too late. He had fallen from grace and he was shoved out of that party really quick. The next day he was at school, he went from popular to loser really quick. Hey, that's karma. Have you ever wondered how a middle school science lesson could save an entire building from exploding? This 8th grader named John was sitting in chemistry class learning about natural gas. His teacher explained that rotten egg smell isn't actually natural. They add a chemical called mercaptan, so people can detect leaks. Your nose can literally smell it at 1 part per billion. Regardless, John thought this was cool. Hey, that's cool. Well, the very next day, during a science lab in a different science class, he noticed a very faint smell of rotten eggs. He raised his hand and said, "Mr. Stevens, I think there might be a gas leak." Well, the teacher brushed it off and said, "John, that's probably from a different experiment or you're making things up." "No, I'm serious. It smells exactly like what Mr. Zern taught us yesterday." But the teacher told him just to sit down and stop disrupting class, please. So John did something bold. He walked straight to the office and he told the principal, "There's a gas leak in the lab. I'm pretty positive." The principal took him very seriously and he pulled the fire alarm himself and evacuated the entire school. Turns out there was a massive gas leak in the science building. The fire department said that if anybody lit a burner, which they were going to, the whole science wing could have exploded. John literally saved the school because he remembered a lesson from the day before. And yeah, that teacher definitely apologized to him. Big time. That's insane. This is what happens when you get locked in the school bathroom. So he asks to go to the bathroom. He walks down the empty hallway, pushes the bathroom door open, and does his business. But when he's ready to leave, what the heck? The door won't budge. It's like somebody locked it from the outside. He's pushing, pulling, nothing. He checks his phone. Crap, there's no signal in here. Now at this point, he's already been gone 8 minutes. So I guess he does the only logical thing. He looks at the ceiling. Crap. He steps on the sink, he pushes open the ceiling tile, and he army crawls through the drop ceiling. Now he thinks he's going towards the hallway, he hopes so, and right when he thinks he's above the hallway, he lifts the tile open, but he falls right through. There you are. Right there was his teacher and the vice principal. What on earth are you doing? The bathroom door was locked. So you climbed through the ceiling? I mean, I couldn't just stay in there, right? Well, you could have knocked or yelled for help. Also, the bathroom's not locked. Here's what happened. When he got in the bathroom, he did his business, he was about to leave, and he tried opening the door, but it wasn't the bathroom door, it was the supply closet door in the bathroom. They looked very similar. But he panicked, didn't look around to see if the actual door is right there, so he climbed through the ceiling. You know what? Just come to my office. You're getting detention. And he got a detention for property damage and making terrible decisions. So this kid gets paired with the laziest person in class for a group project, and he decides to handle it in the most savage way possible. They're supposed to be splitting the work 50-50. 50-50. So he messages his partner one night, "Hey, you want to do the research for the slides?" The next day he responds, "I don't know, you pick what I do." So the guy decides to split it in half. "All right, I emailed you half the slides, send me yours when you're done." Because that sounds fair, but then after that, radio silence. "Yo, bro, did you finish?" Nothing. He tries talking to him during school. "Hey, dude, gotta go, man." The heck? It's the night before the project. "Yo, man, are you done?" Partner responds, "Yeah, don't worry about it." Presentation day, they're up third, and this guy's got his part ready to go. Clean, put together. He did his research, he's solid. His partner shows up with nothing. Literally nothing. "Bro, where's your part? I thought we're just gonna wing it." The teacher calls him up. "Okay, let's see what you two have." They stand up and this kid goes first. He goes to his slides. "Okay, so we each did half of the work. I'm gonna go first." He presents it flawlessly. He's confident, well-researched, and then he looks to his partner. "All right, man, your turn." He freezes. The partner gets up there to try to wing it and he presses the button to go to the next slide. And all the slide said was, "This section was assigned to Carlos." Bro, you didn't do it? You didn't do your part? No. He gets full credit. Yes. You get 0. And the kid sat down, proud of himself, while his partner stood up there completely shocked. The rest of the class just laughed. Yo, that's savage. Here's what happens when you're a frickin' Karen. This lady's about to board a flight. She storms up to the counter and is waving her phone in the agent's face. Hi, yeah, I paid for priority and that better mean something good." Well, the desk agent said, "Ma'am, yes, this is economy plus, so you'll be boarding in group 2. Just a few minutes, okay?" Now, boarding hadn't even begun yet, but this lady loses it. I'm pretty sure I paid for a better plane ticket." You know what? I have so many followers, I'm gonna ruin you for this. This airline sucks. That's fine. Okay, I don't care, just step back. Now here's the thing. She threatens that she's gonna make a terrible video about the airline to ruin their reputation or to get this person fired, but no one cared. The thing is, that desk agent was actually gonna upgrade somebody to first class because there was one first class seat open. But now, it definitely wasn't gonna be her. Sir. Oh yeah? What boarding group are you? Now he's saying this loud enough for the lady to hear. Group 6. Well, it's your lucky day. I'm upgrading you to first class. And ma'am, I'm downgrading you to group 6. Now this entire time, a bunch of other passengers were watching this thing go down. They were invested, and they cheered. What? Stop clapping! Screw you! And she threw a fit, and she was thrown out of the airport. Good. It's lunch. One group goes to sit down at their normal spot, but another group's already sitting there. This is our table. We've been sitting here all week. Nobody moves. It's a standoff. That's when somebody from one of the groups says, hey guys, why don't we all just share the table? So they all cram into this one table. Awkward small talk at first. Then somebody from group A comments, yo, aren't you that guy that cried during the fire drill? It was one time, dude, the alarm was loud. Group A starts laughing. Well, group B fires back. Well, didn't you fail the easiest history test last semester? At least I didn't pee my pants during prom. Now it's on. Insults are flying. Old drama resurfacing, one kid slaps another guy. Ka! A teacher walks over. Hey, what's going on here? Both groups go silent. Nothing, we're just bonding. Yeah, sure you are. The teacher walks away. For the rest of the lunch, they sit there silent. But the next day, they both sat at that table again, and instead of insults, they were actually telling stories and laughing, so I don't know. I think they all became friends. What happens when the school bully becomes the hero? I'll tell you. This happened at a middle school in Ohio. There was this one kid named Steven, and he was getting bullied every single day by the same group of seniors. He was being shoved into lockers, his lunch tray was getting knocked over, the usual stuff. I hate my life. Well, here's the thing. There was another bully at school, the biggest bully. This dude named Jake, and everyone was terrified of him. Well, I guess he'd been watching what had been happening to Steven. I just kept seeing it happen every day. One day something snapped. He sees them bullying Steven, so he walks right up and says, hey, look at me. You touch him again, you're gonna deal with me, okay? The bullies immediately stop. Oh, hey, Jake, yeah, no, whatever, man. We're just messing around, no big deal, we'll stop. And just like that, they stopped messing with Steven. But Jake doesn't stop there because Steven was a new kid at school. He didn't want people messing with him for some reason. So Jake starts walking Steven to class every day, sits by him at lunch, basically becomes his bodyguard. You didn't have to do that, man. Yeah, it did. Teachers are freaking out because they don't know what to do. The biggest bully in school is now protecting the most vulnerable kid in school. Well, here's the thing. Jake got suspended for 1 week because another kid was messing with Steven and he pushed him into the wall. The school didn't care that he was sticking up for somebody, but he didn't complain. And when the suspension was over, he kept being buddies with Steven. And that is awesome. Why do lifeguards care more about a frickin' sandwich than somebody drowning? This guy went to a public pool, and he got yelled at before he was even in the water. He was standing a few feet away from the pool, eating a sandwich, when the lifeguard blew his whistle. Hey, no food near the pool! Go throw it away and wash your hands! Meanwhile, there's a literal diaper floating in the water, but this lifeguard doesn't care. The guy goes away, tosses the sandwich and washes his hands, comes back to the pool, and does a cannonball. Hey! No cannonballs! Too much splash! What? But here's the wildest part. He calls this guy up. Come here. And he starts lecturing him. You know, cannonballs cause a huge splash and waves that disrupt other swimmers. He's going on, but at the same time, there's literally somebody in the pool actively drowning. Hey, no, you listen to me. No, but there's... The lifeguard doesn't even glance over. Somebody's drowning. Then shut up. Luckily, somebody else jumped in the water and saved this guy. But the lifeguard did nothing. Later that day, the same guy the lifeguard was yelling at was drinking a water bottle by the pool. And the lifeguard kicked him out because having unsealed water bottles was apparently against the rules. I don't know. That's just crazy. Here's what happens when you mess with the wrong kid. There's this 8th grader named Devin. And he had his locker broken into 4 times in 2 weeks. The first time his lunch money was stolen. Oh, what the heck? The second time his headphones. Yo, that's messed up. The third time his jacket. Dude, who would do this? And the 4th time his water bottle. But I'm so thirsty. Now everybody knew it was this kid named Brandon. Yeah, Brandon had been stealing stealing from lockers since the 6th grade, but nobody could really prove it. And Brandon always stole from Devin during lunch. So Devin decides to set a trap one day. He takes a small but powerful Bluetooth speaker and connects it to his phone. He then puts the speaker inside of a decoy backpack, and he puts the decoy backpack in his locker right before lunch. And he stuffs that backpack with a bunch of random stuff, like fake money, an old Nintendo Switch that didn't work anymore, and a bunch of other stuff to weigh it down. His goal here was to get Brandon to steal the entire backpack. Once it's all set, he walks away and leaves his locker unlocked. And just like that, Brandon goes in and takes the entire backpack. Now Devin was watching secretly, so he knew what was going on, and he waited till the middle of the class that was right after lunch. And then he plays an incredibly loud alarm noise on his phone. But remember, that phone was hooked up to a speaker in the backpack that Brandon stole. And it was loud. People down the hall could hear it. Teachers were like, what is that alarm? Brandon freaks out. He takes the backpack, he stumbles out of the classroom, and he throws it down the hall. Everyone's like, yo, what are you doing? What's in the backpack? And then Brandon confesses. Yo, it's not even mine. I stole it from a locker. At this point, tons of students are in the hallway. So was Devin. Yeah, my locker. Brandon was finally caught red frickin' handed. Suspended for 10 days. And his reputation, which wasn't that great to begin with, was now forever ruined at that school. Sometimes all you gotta do is set a booby trap.